Everybody. My name is Rebecca, and today I'll be presenting on creativity as an evidence-based self-care and clinical support tool. This presentation explores creativity not simply as an artistic concept, but as a neuroscience-supported evidence-based method for regulating the nervous system, particularly for individuals who work with trauma, crisis, and human suffering. Today we'll explore what creativity means in clinical practice, how it works in the brain, and how it can be used safely and effectively for both practitioners and clients. What is the definition of creativity? In clinical terms, creativity is defined as intentional, artistic, or symbolic expression used to regulate emotions, process stress, and restore psychological balance. In trauma-informed care, creativity primarily activates right brain emotional and sensory processing, where trauma is often stored. This is important because many trauma responses are not accessible through logic or language alone. Creativity does not require talent, it does not require perfection. It focuses on process, not performance, and it supports regulation before cognition, meaning the nervous system stabilizes before insight is expected. Broad types of creativity. It can be expressed in many ways, depending on what feels safest and most accessible for the individual. It includes visual arts, writing, music, movement, nature-based creativity. Because creativity is so adaptable, it is effective across ages, cultures, and ability levels. Why creativity works. Creativity works because of how it affects the nervous system. Research shows that creative activity can lower physiological stress, regulate the autonomic nervous system, increase resilience, improve emotional awareness, and strengthen meaning making. Trauma is stored not only in memory, it is stored in the body. When someone is overwhelmed, the thinking brain often shuts down. Creativity provides a pathway around overthinking and into safe emotional processing. Regulation must occur before insight. Only when the nervous system feels safe can reflection, learning, and connection fully happen again. The impact on those who serve human suffering. Professionals who work with suffering face unique emotional demands, including compassion fatigue, secondary traumatic stress, burnout, chronic nervous system overload. Creativity serves as a pressure release valve for professionals who absorb emotional material daily. Without ways to discharge that load, stress accumulates in the body and leads to disengagement, illness, and emotional exhaustion. Creative practices provides a safe and accessible way to release that stored stress. String key figures include regarding the clinical foundation of creativity, Carl Jung, who emphasized symbolic expression as the language of the unconscious long before words can articulate experience. Russell van der Kolk demonstrated that trauma must be processed through the body and sensory systems, not only through talk therapy. James Pennebaker showed that expressive writing improves immune function and emotional regulation. And Mikhail, can't say the last name, introduced the concept of flow, demonstrating how creative immersion reduces anxiety and increases well-being. Together, their work moves creativity from being viewed as alternative to becoming a neuroscience-supported clinical approach. Evidence-based research. Pennebaker's writing studies show improvements in emotional regulation and physical health. Van der Kolk's research demonstrates that trauma resolves more effectively through sensory and creative engagement. The last one shows that flow reduces anxiety and increases resilience. The American Psychological Association recognizes creativity as part of evidence-based practice when it integrates research, clinical expertise, and client values. Clinical view versus popular culture. Clinical view clinically, creativity is used for regulation, not performance. Emphasis is not on producing something beautiful, but on stabilizing the nervous system. Popular culture views creativity as talent-based and performance-driven. Creativity becomes a form of therapeutic containment, not entertainment, when used in the healing of human suffering. Common misconceptions and resistance when introduced to the idea. I'm not creative. This is childish. It's not real therapy. I don't have time. Clinicians respond by normalizing discomfort, lowering pressure, and reframing creativity as regulation, not talent. When performance expectations are removed, participation increases significantly. Cross culture and psychosocial considerations. Creativity offers powerful cross-cultural benefits by producing nonverbal access to emotion for individuals with language barriers, trauma-related speech blocks, or neurodivergence. Limitations include cultural stigma around art or play, physical limitations, and the need for careful timing following acute trauma. Creativity must always be introduced with sensitivity and safety. Okay, now we're going to do an activity. Trauma and chronic stress activate the body's survival systems, often making thinking and verbal processing difficult. Research shows that creative and sensory-based activities help regulate the nervous system when words are not available. This exercise demonstrates that in under 2 minutes. So either grab a piece of paper and a pen or a pencil, or use your finger in the air and draw a shape that represents your current stress level or emotional state. This is about expression, not art. The second step is to modify your shape in any way that makes it feel calm or more manageable. This represents the body shifting from stress into regulation. So I'll give you another minute to do both of those steps. So that is an example of how creative processes help people dealing with suffering. It demonstrates how creative processes externalize stress, activate emotional processing to support bottom-up nervous system regulation, and restore a sense of control. This is why creative plays such a powerful role in trauma-informed self-care. Creativity can be integrated into daily self-care through art journaling, free writing, music, movement, photography, and nature-based creativity. Each of these supports emotional discharge and nervous system regulation. Resources for this presentation are the book, The Body Keeps the Score, And I pulled some quotes from the book that talked about imagination and creativity. First quote is: imagination is absolutely critical to the quality of our lives. Our imagination enables us to leave our routine, everyday existence by fantasizing about travel, food, sex, falling in love, or having the last word. All the things that make life interesting. Imagination gives us the opportunity to envision new possibilities. It is essential. It is an essential launch pad for making our hopes come true. It frees our creativity, relieves our boredom, alleviates our pain, enhances our pleasure, and enriches our most intimate relationships. When people are compulsively and constantly pulled back into the past, to the last time they felt intense involvement and deep emotions, they suffer from a failure of imagination, a loss of the mental flexibility. Without imagination, there's no hope, no chance to envision a better future, no place to go, no goal to reach. The next quote is: recovery from trauma involves the restoration of executive functioning and with it, self-confidence and the capacity for playfulness and creativity. Then you can go to your app store and you just search for Insight Timer, which is a creative meditation and sound therapy app. But I have an iPhone, so in the Apple store, if you search for Insight Timer, there's apps come up called Calm, Headspace, Breathwork, Aura, and so on. Then the website American Art Therapy Association, the link is on the handout. I'm going to pull some stuff from the website. According to research, art therapy helps people feel more in control of their own lives and helps relieve anxiety and depression, including among cancer patients, tuberculosis patients in isolation, and military veterans with PTSD. In addition, art therapy assists in managing pain by moving mental focus away from the painful stimulus. On the website, there's also an art therapist locator, and in Oregon, it shows there are 16 art therapists. Also explains where the programs are for you to get your degree in art therapy. And then there's videos that talk about how art therapy helps adolescents, autism spectrum disorder, children in hospital settings, eating disorders, memory care, military service members and veterans, prisons and other correctional settings, trauma victims, and more. They have a monthly newsletter, and in the November newsletter, there was an article written by one of the members called "The Art of Healing: How Creativity Could Be the Key to Emotional Well-Being." I pulled some quotes from the article that I liked. When asked why the practice is becoming increasingly popular, Shandy points to the accessibility. Art therapy is becoming increasingly popular because it offers a different kind of therapeutic experience, one that feels less invasive and more engaging. For many people, it can be intimidating to sit and talk about painful experiences, but through art, they can express emotions and stories without having to put everything into words. The process itself can feel freeing, even enjoyable. It's creative, playful, and at times fun. At the same time, it allows people to explore their inner world, uncover hidden emotions, and gain insight into a gentle, natural way. Art therapy's impact is perhaps most visible in work with military veterans. Creative art therapist Melissa Walker, in her TED Talk, "Art Can Heal PTSD's Invisible Wounds," explains how neurological research has revealed why art can succeed where language fails. Due to advances in technology and neuroimaging, we now know there's an actual shutdown in the Broca's, or the speech language area of the brain, after an individual experiences trauma. This physiological change, or speechless terror as it's often called, coupled with mental health stigma, the fear of being judged or misunderstood, possibly even removed from their current duties, has led to the invisible struggle of our servicemen and women. Walker describes how the process of creating art allows trauma survivors to bypass the speech centers of the brain and access the same sensory areas that encode traumatic memories. Vivid symbolic artwork is being created by our servicemen and women, and every work of art tells a story. We've observed that the process of art therapy bypasses the speech language issue with the brain. Art making accesses the same sensory areas of the brain that encode trauma. Service members can use the art making to work through their experiences in a non-threatening way. They can then apply words to their physical creations, reintegrating the left and the right hemisphere of the brain. The website also has pictures from a conference in Portland, October 8th through 11th. There was over 1,000 that showed up. for this conference. The website says art therapy is now a regulated mental health profession in 15 states and the District of Columbia. Art therapists hold professional art therapy licenses in Connecticut, Delaware, District of Columbia, Kentucky, Maryland, Mississippi, New Jersey, New Mexico, Oregon, Tennessee, and Virginia. They are regulated under related professional licenses in Texas, New York, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, and Utah. So all of these three things, the book, app, and website, they're available for both students and practitioners immediately. Here's the references that are also listed on the handout. And in conclusion, creativity is not about talent, it's about regulation, restoration, and resilience for those who carry emotional weight. When used intentionally and safely, creativity becomes one of the most powerful evidence-based tools for long-term professional and personal sustainability. Thank you for listening. And I'm excited to watch your presentation. Thank you.